Who is Moon Knight? His origins to the MCU. Moon Knight is the latest breakout MCU star, but the white-cloaked hero has a long history at Marvel Comics, going back to the 70s. Created by writer Doug Munch and artist Don Perlin, he first appeared as an antagonist in Werewolf by Night in 1975's issue number 32. Over the last 5 decades, his powers, abilities, and personalities have evolved throughout. So let's take a closer look at Moon Knight and what we can learn from his origins and history. Welcome to Nerds & Company, your source for all things nerdy. If you like comics, gadgets, video games, and movies, you're in the right place. So be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a video. Now, back to Moon Knight. After a series of appearances in comics ranging from Spider-Man and the Hulk, he received his first solo ongoing Moon Knight series in 1980, and he's had on and off solo comics ever since. Mark Spector's Soldier for Hire beginnings. Moon Knight's real name and identity is Mark Spector. A Chicago native, Spector trained most of his life to be a heavyweight boxer, but eventually he becomes a Marine and ultimately a soldier for hire. In his mercenary career, he befriends a French pilot named Jean-Paul Duchamp, who he gives the cringe nickname of Frenchie. Once Mark became Moon Knight, Frenchie became his equivalent of Batman's Alfred. Spector takes a job in Africa working for a mercenary, Raoul Bushman. While in Egypt, the two come across Dr. Peter Alron and his daughter Marlene, who just discovered an ancient temple in an archaeological dig in the desert. When Bushman hears about the temple's treasures, he kills Dr. Alron. Disgusted by Bushman's murder of an innocent, Spector fights him. But Bushman defeats him and leaves him to die in the cold desert night. As he lay dying in the Egyptian sands, the acolytes of an ancient Egyptian moon deity, Khonshu, took Mark Spector in. They spirited him away to Khonshu's temple, where Spector's heart stops. While dead, he meets with the spirit of Khonshu, who grants him his life again, as long as Spector becomes his champion on Earth. He agrees to the terms and returns to life. Spector sets up shop in New York City. This becomes his home base as the Moon Knight. At this point, Moon Knight creates 2 new personas to infiltrate the different worlds inhabiting the city, all in order to more efficiently fight crime. Moon Knight's first personality is millionaire playboy Stephen Grant. He uses this wealthy identity to infiltrate the elite criminals of New York. He also creates the personality of Jake Lockley, a cab driver whose ear is a bit closer to the ground. Moon Knight personalities weren't really fake personas that Mark Spector was just pretending to be. Instead, they were all separate identities that resulted from his dissociative disorder, a condition Spector had since childhood. Supposedly, each of Mark Spector's 4 personalities ties into an aspect of Khonshu and its multifaceted nature. Moon Knight's 4 main personalities. These 4 main aspects of Moon Knight's personalities are the Traveler, the Pathfinder, the Embracer, and the Defender of those who travel at night. However, over the years, Spector has developed other personalities as well. This calls into question whether or not his personalities have anything at all to do with a supernatural entity and becoming Moon Knight. Does Moon Knight have powers or not? Much like other vigilante-type heroes, Moon Knight has no permanent superpowers except for 2. He is an expert fighter in multiple styles and weapons expert, as well as a skilled pilot. But Moon Knight's greatest power is that he seemingly cannot die. He has been resurrected at least 3 times, so he can continue to serve as Khonshu's champion. Although Moon Knight can't fly, his crescent moon cape allows him to glide safely when jumping from great heights. Occasionally though, Moon Knight has received the odd power upgrade as we see in the series. Sometimes he has enhanced strength during nights in which there is a full moon and the power to sap someone's life energy through physical contact. There are many comparisons made to Batman. Moon Knight, however, is far closer to Punisher. While Batman swears by a no-kill code, Moon Knight has no problem killing his enemies. So, just how brutal is Moon Knight? He once impaled his archenemy Bushman on a machine gun, and even carved his face off. He also leaves a crescent moon branding on the foreheads of his enemies. Basically, he's an anti-hero, someone who does horrible things for righteous reasons. Brutal or not, Moon Knight appeared in the Avengers several times in his career. He started his Avengers career with the West Coast Avengers. Since then, he served brief stints with the main Avengers team and the Secret Avengers, as well as the supernatural adventures of the Defenders and the Midnight Suns. However, his stints on various teams never last very long, so maybe don't count on him fully joining the Phase 4 MCU Avengers. Speaking of the Avengers, Moon Knight is one of the few members of the team besides Captain America who can lift Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. Moon Knight's first romantic interest started in 1980 with Marlene Alron, the daughter of the archaeologist whose death started Mark Spector down the road to becoming the Fist of Khonshu. Marlene became Moon Knight's ally in those early years and eventually his love interest. But her confusion over Moon Knight's different personalities proved too much for her, and she and Spector parted ways. Other known Moon Knight love interests have included his fellow Avenger Tigra and the adventurer Echo. But Moon Knight's erratic behavior has made it difficult for anyone to stay with him for too long. Moon Knight's appearances in other shows were scarce until the 21st century. He first showed up in the Ultimate Spider-Man vs. Sinister Six animated series in 2016. The following year, he appeared on the new Spider-Man series on Disney XD, and he also appeared briefly on the Avengers Assemble animated show. Moon Knight has popped up in several video games over the years. How is the show different from the comic? Well, let's start with his other personality. In the series, Steven is a mild-mannered gift shop clerk with an encyclopedic knowledge of Egyptian mythology. Timid, meek, and adverse to violence or any sort of confrontation. But Steven couldn't be more different in the comics. Stephen Grant is a charismatic billionaire, similar to his fellow rich contemporaries like Tony Stark. He even uses his earnings as a Hollywood executive to privately fund his vigilante heroics. Arthur Harrow's character is also very different in the comics. In the series, Arthur is a cult leader who wants to use the power of the Egyptian god Ammit to cleanse the world. Originally, Arthur Harrow is a mad scientist who performs horrible surgeries on unwilling patients in search of a cure for his paralysis. Moon Knight also seems to have supernatural strength, agility, and some sort of healing factor that is granted by the suit. Moon Knight's original costume included Kevlar armor. It had a built-in radio system so that Spector could summon Frenchie, who typically provided backup in a helicopter. Spector later upgraded the Kevlar to adamantium and added dart throwers to the gauntlets. What have you noticed that's different? Let us know in the comments.